I felt that if I was going to break this circle of poverty, I needed to go to school. Education would make the difference. You may call it resilience. I never take no for an answer. Wherever you go, leave that place better than you found it.
Welcome to another edition of Mindset Profits. And to tell you the truth, my brain is fried right now. I've been mentored and taught on so many angles. I'm excited to bring this information to you. I am sitting with Dr. Stanley Mutunga, and he is my host. He's done, maybe to give you context. I got to feel what it's like to walk into a bank and with one of the major account holders. The service works different. Dr. Stan, before I break down your amazing CV, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so what we are looking at is a vision that you had a long time ago. And you have a hospital right behind me. And because there's a hospital, people need somewhere to sleep that visit guests. There's a guest house. And because there's a guest house, people need to eat and people get hungry. There's a restaurant over there.
Yes.
And because you care about the community so much, there's a school on the other side, boarding, girls' school.
Yes.
I'm not done with the projects. And because you care about the community so much, beyond just educating kids, there's church planting happening on the other side. You have done a lot in your lifetime. What does it feel like being you?
Well, I really count it as a privilege to serve. Personally, I don't think I've ever told you this. I grew up in a very underserved community.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I did not start school until the age of 12. It's when I went to primary school or elementary school. Started very late.
Oh, what was the reason?
There was no money to send me to school. I was the youngest in a family of 10. And my parents felt that they could not send all of us to school. Someone had to stay home to take care of cows.
And that was you?
Yeah, that was me. So every year they'll push it to next year.
Maybe you did a job so good, they thought, we made the right decision.
No, they just wanted a warm body that can take care of the few cows that they had. My wife was advising me in retrospect, I should have prayed for those cows to die so that I go to school. She tells me that's what she did in her case.
I would love to talk to her at some point.
Oh, she's much more fun than I am.
All right, so you get to age 12.
Yeah.
What happened? What made them send you to school? Was
Well,
you're doing?
Well, I was insisting that I need to go to school. As I said, very poor environment. I felt that if I was going to break this circle of poverty, I needed to go to school. Education would make the difference. And it didn't matter how old I was, I felt that I needed to go to school. Fortunately, I did so well in school that the first year I covered 3 classes. First semester I went to grade 1, second semester grade 2, third semester grade 3, and I almost caught up with everybody else.
Oh. How were the teachers structuring it for you?
Well,
to pass that fast and move on?
Well, I wish I could say it was very smooth. Well, I was performing well in terms of grades and all that, but also a tall, big boy. And so I got a few insults, like, where were you? What is this big boy doing in grade 1? We need to push him to So, yeah.
How was it like for you as a child, though, at the time? Because that's a thing that many kids would struggle to deal with.
Well, I think the one thing I've always had was, you may call it resilience. I never take no for an answer. I felt that I just needed an opportunity to go to school and I would make a difference at the end of the day. And so, yeah, there were problems. In fact, I remember there were times when we could have one meal a day if we were that lucky. I mentioned I come from it's very semi-arid part of Kenya. Poverty was just palpable. And so, but somehow I believed that there was something better for me in the future. I just needed to get some education.
Were you a Christian at the time?
No. I became a Christian when I was in my senior in high school. And I said to so many people, that messed me up.
It took all the fun out of life.
It did. Because I really thought I thought that people became Christians were weak. They were not very smart. I looked at the village pastors and the way they were dressed. And the few Christian young men and women, they were, at least for me, they were not that smart. And so I felt maybe this is something for people who fail.
You got me at the website. I'm busy with my Kenyan tea. I almost spit all over the cameras.
That'd be a good commercial for you.
Okay. So if that's what you thought, why did you get involved with Christianity?
Well, I actually got sick in my senior year. I had high problems. I had stomach issues. The few places that they took me for medical attention in the local medical clinics didn't really do much to me, for me rather. And one of my older brothers recommended that I go and see a medicine man who will solve my problems. We went to the coastal city of Mombasa because that's where the good ones are.
Okay.
So I went to this guy and there was no help. We paid a little more to go to the next guy and then the next guy, the next girl. And I always found this fun. The very last medical traditional medicine man that I visited was a one-legged man. He was physically disabled.
Okay.
And so I went, I knocked the door, he ushered me in, and he basically I helped him treat me because he was completely immobile. So he'd tell me, go and get me that gourd, go and get me that, go and get me that. And I'm like, if this guy had this much power to help me,
Why isn't he helping himself?
yes. And so I left there feeling like maybe this thing doesn't work, actually. He had given me some fetishes to wrap around my waist, on my wrist, and everywhere. And on my way home, I cut all those things and threw them into the trash can. And of course, my parents were Christians. They had prayed for me. They instructed me about the gospel for so many times. I did not need a preacher to give my life to the Lord. I just knew that there's no help here. There is help elsewhere.
Did you get the help when you became a Christian?
I did. I found a mentor, gentleman who is now late. He really helped me because one of the things that was happening at the time was there was a strong Pentecostal movement, and they were teaching some extreme, crazy things, like, don't worry about parents who are not believers, just ignore them, pray and sing and worship and do these crazy things 24/7. And
That was a recent thing, especially in Africa.
yeah, this was, we are talking 70s now. Oh yeah, it was here.
So it was radical at the time, just not as crazy and
Exactly,
as it is now.
exactly. But this guy took me under his wings, and they really taught me how to read the Bible. Just be a Christian, but don't become a crazy person. And I really thanked him for the rest of his life for helping me, mentoring me really, to just be a sober person.
I think what I'm picking up early on now with you, and we'll get into the business side of things, because I'm curious to know how someone drives an organization to grow at this level, what you've learned along the way. And I believe there are so many people that will benefit from that. When it comes to education, how you started late will truly inspire someone, because there's always someone who is maybe not at grade 1, but there are so many people that get stuck because they only have maybe 1 degree, and they don't have the qualification they need to go and get a different job.
Correct.
And they get stuck for years not realizing actually you could just go back to school no matter how old you are, learn the skill that you need to start over. And I think I picked that up from you. At least you did it very early on.
Yes. Let me just say, for me, it's all up in your mind. I'm a very optimistic person. I already mentioned that I don't take no for an answer.
Yeah.
And if I can actually just frame this in a different way, my immediate elder brother, I caught up with him when we were in grade school. So we went together all the way to high school, Form 2 or sophomore, if you wish.
Yeah.
And we did an exit exam in Kenya. Those years you used to do a Kenya junior secondary school examination, and it was a terminal examination. You didn't have to go ahead with high school. And he looked at me in the eye and said, I am done. I'm going to look for a job, because we were struggling to pay the school fees that was required at the time. And I told him, no, I know we are struggling, but I'm going to stay in school. I would do any job that anybody would offer me to go to school. 40 years later, he was talking to me. He asked me a very important question. He asked me, what did you know then that some of us didn't know?
That's actually a good question.
Yeah.
Did you have an answer, or it becomes one of those? Because I found when I ask people who are senior and have experienced and done things, sometimes they don't know how they did it. I spoke to one man in property who was making 7 million a year, and just asking, how did you build this? He just said, no, I just do. I wake up and just do.
Yeah.
He could not break it down. When that question came from your brother, did you have an answer?
I did. I thought, wow, he's a man with a lot of wisdom, but he did not pursue knowledge beyond second year in high school. But so he's able to articulate very good questions. So I told him, brother, if I gave you a good theory for 2 hours, I'll be doing you a disservice. This is what I knew then. I knew where we were socioeconomically. It was bad. There were no role models in the village. But in my mind, I knew there's something better out there. I was chased by what I knew, so that I can pursue something better that I didn't know. But in my mind, I knew there's something better than this. So that really was my driving force.
How did you become the visionary then that you got to be later? I get when you say there's something that's better. That part is easy for many people to conceptualize, that look, we are in a bad place, life can be better for me, but they don't see or have a vision that this goes as far and wide as yours has gone.
Yeah.
Because not many will think that you can have a business or an organization that has schools, hospitals, guest houses, operates in different counties around the country. Not many think that far.
Yes.
And the weird thing for you, actually, with you having listened to you all day now, is you feel like you're just getting started.
I am. It's around midday. We still have the whole afternoon.
How do I become that person as an African child?
You can. And I'm not just quoting Barack Obama. But we can.
Yes, we can.
But we can. So, I went ahead with education. I was fortunate enough to go all the way to PhD, got some education, got into the job market. But what really got me into what I'm doing, in 2000 and 2003, I lost a couple of my family members to HIV/AIDS. At that time, I was a dean of a graduate school in the U.S., very comfortable, raising my 3 boys. My wife was a high school teacher. We were very comfortable. But back here in Kenya, I lost 2 of my brothers, actually. Between them, they left 12 kids. And so almost overnight, we began to take care of not just our 3 boys, but 12 more kids. And we did all we could. Actually, it was not a struggle. We were able to afford to send them through school and all that.
All 12?
Yes. But as we were visiting family here, grandmothers from the neighborhood began to come to our house. Can you help us, Stanley? Can you help us? They had lost their sons and daughters to HIV, and those kids and left them with their children to take care of. The average age of the grandmothers then was 72 years. We are talking 2001, 2002. With no income, nothing, taking care of their kids. So we felt God calling us to help a few grandmothers, raise money so that they can take their kids to school, provide basic health care to their kids, food and shelter and those basics.
Is that how Tumaini started?
Yes. So we came up with a name of this emerging organization, Tumaini, which for us is very easy because it's a Swahili word, which means hope. But I still remember my American friends struggling to pronounce it. There was one place I went and somebody was introducing me and they said, "Here comes the tsunami guy."
Everyone will remember you after that.
I said, it's close, but it's not tsunami. But it almost have the same effect.
Oh, hope it's the same effect.
Yeah, tsunami and HIV/AIDS.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So that's how we began. Child sponsorship, but very soon we realized that we were not just dealing with a HIV/AIDS issue. We were dealing with a socioeconomic issue, which was affecting a lot of people. The whole of sub-Saharan Africa, we were the epicenter for the HIV, virus.
So, as
a country, really, Kenya, Uganda, this whole sub-Saharan region was seriously affected by HIV/AIDS. And so, there was almost a generation of kids who were going to miss out in education. So that's how it started. Just support a few kids, give them an opportunity to go to school. So, like I mentioned, we very quickly realized that we are dealing with 3 integrated issues: healthcare, education, and socioeconomic challenges. So when you sponsor a child, you ensure they have education and healthcare, food, and all that. If you don't take care of the village where they come from, the village remains essentially poor.
Well, the same problem persists,
exactly,
if not keeps growing.
Exactly. Now, a few kids through trickle-down economics will help a few grandmothers. But by and large, the region remains poor. So we began to provide opportunities for communities to make wealth, at least come from extreme poverty. So we provide things like grants. We've now started microfinance.
Oh, I forgot about microfinance.
Yes,
because you have so many businesses.
we have that. We provide technical support. If a group is doing farming, we help them with technical people, agronomists to help them. If they are doing farms or poultry, we provide technical support for them.
In terms of this service, how far wide do they go across Kenya?
We are currently working actively in 11 counties out of 47 counties across Kenya.
And for context, if you don't know counties, this is provinces, so...
Yeah, they are big, they are huge. They're huge. Last year, through our socioeconomic programs, we were able to lift from extreme poverty over 57,000 people.
Okay.
So the vision really has grown over the years. So we saw this problem and we realized that for us long term to address this issue, yes, we'll need to raise money from America, Europe, and other places, but we need to develop socio-economic opportunities here so that we can be sustainable long term.
When you are starting the NGO, what were some of the challenges? Because I see the need, and that was clear for you, the need, the value proposition that became absolutely clear, and the fact that you cared so much to do something about it. But starting an organization is a whole other thing. And many, even if the need is real, fail at the organization part.
Yes.
What did you know then, or what were you doing right to get the organization to function well?
Yes. Very good question. And it, again, is one of those questions that I get all the time because of the apparent success that we've had. So I was very intentional in terms of who do I hire to do what. We are a faith-based organization, but that is not a guarantee that you're getting best people from faith community. I will not say there is a litmus test, but we have we've been very fortunate, let me say. The people we've hired, we spend a lot of time on the onboarding level, sharing our vision and our mission and how we go about it. And
so right from the beginning, that's how you're operating.
Exactly. And I think one of the things that has really helped us is this compound you see was our own land that we donated for free to build all these facilities. And so when people see that you're not just talking about doing something, but you're actually putting all your
resources into it.
Exactly. Because we had bought this land. We are not from this area. We put a lot of money to buy this part of, this plot. But we felt that we needed to build institutions that address the three areas: education, healthcare, and socioeconomic development. So we have built a girls' high school, and actually this year we've also launched a primary school or an elementary school that will be a feeder school to this girls' high school. We felt that we need really a top-notch girls' high school that obviously will be a school of choice for vulnerable girls, but also members from the community.
Interesting, because I saw the school.
Yeah.
And the team there were talking the same language as you. We are getting started.
Yes.
There is a whole marathon ahead of us.
There is. And if you noticed, all the employees, top management are young people.
Why? Was that a trick from back then, or this is something that caught on along the way?
I've always believed in empowering young people and giving them opportunities.
And this is very young people.
Being very intentional in mentoring them. And I trust them. Once you train them and you give them the right training, I mean, obviously they come here with their degrees, with their education. Some of them are alumni of our program. But we invest a lot in developing capacity. But I think the fact that they see myself and my wife very focused, you can ask around, we are not wealthy by any means. In fact, we don't believe in having a lot of stuff. We just give it to the work. And so they have seen that.
You take your earnings, you don't mind giving it back to the work.
Exactly. And
is that an important business lesson, though?
I think it is.
Looking at how you function.
I think you need to model that which you expect your employees, and it doesn't matter whether it's a for-profit business or a non-profit. I think the business model is the same. You need men and women of integrity. I think I would say we need to trust younger people obviously provide mentorship and really opportunities for them to grow in their fields.
Okay.
And I think once they trust that you trust them, it's amazing the lengths they will go.
Can I not say though that you're lucky you built this business in Kenya? Because I've been talking to people around and people here are friendly and, and nice and hospitable. Is it not a culture thing that generally you have a lot of good people?
Well, that is true. This part of southeastern part of the country, there's that culture. But everybody will tell you that not every business is run like this just outside of here. People have challenges. We've had even shootings. We've had...
Is it?
Yes. We've had people hired and just stealing from the employer. I have to say we have a very unique culture here. And also, about a quarter of our staff are kids who went through the program as alumni. And for them,
that helps.
For them, working here is, they almost feel like you don't even need to pay us because we want to give back. We benefited from this program, including our current country director. He was one of our kids who we raised from high school all the way to university and back.
For context, for someone who doesn't know, how many kids are you helping?
Right now, in elementary school, high school, and colleges, we have about 1,800 kids. I still call them kids, even those who are pursuing PhDs.
Yeah. So you're putting 1,800 kids through school?
Yes.
How many other communities are you helping through the socio-economic initiatives?
So through the socio-economic initiatives, we have what we call CBOs, community-based organizations. We have about close to 20 of them across the country.
20 CBOs, yeah.
Yes, and that's where you get primary and secondary beneficiaries coming to over 57,000. And then in our hospital, that's another place where we do a lot of community work. Our hospital is well known in this region for several reasons. One, we have qualified staff, but they do care for their patients. Again, it's part of our onboarding. They know that they value their patients. Patients are not just a number. We are not just looking for the money. We do charge something for the patients. Our kids that are sponsored, they come to our hospital for free because they are sponsored. But members from the community, they pay. And the reason we are able to charge very cheaply is because we get subsidized medical supplies from an organization here in Nairobi that sells medical stuff fairly inexpensive, faith-based. And so we applied like 15 years ago, and we've been members of that.
And you pass on.
And we pass on that, to the patients. Now, apart from the hospital, this
is over 50,000 people through the CPOs.
Yeah.
1,800 kids that you're helping. And
the hospital sees about, this year to see close to 100,000. That includes also our medical camps. We go out to the communities where they have no medical services. We go and camp there for a couple of days, give free medical services.
I listened to you, and like I was saying when we were having breakfast, if I were in your position, I probably would be feeling like I can retire now. I've done all this. I've helped hundreds of thousands of people. I can rest. And then I'm talking to you. You were on. This is just the beginning of the journey. I still have a long way to go.
Yes.
And you said you have a 5-year strategic vision and you're near one.
Yes. You know the shirt you're wearing has three colors. Well, there are more than three, but three are very critical.
Yes.
The sunrise color, the white, and then the green. The green illustrates our focus that regardless of your vulnerability, whether you are a child or a poor grandmother who needs help, life is beginning to look good for you. It's green. Things are looking up.
Okay.
The white is for hope. We are Tumaini. We give hope. The sunrise is the sun. You're just starting. You're just getting started.
So
we are just getting started. It's not even midday. It's not sunset. It's sunrise. And that's the attitude I think you experience.
I keep experiencing each time. If I look, because part of what you've done is you went and lectured in the US, and you were doing that and coming here. What has that experience taught you though when you move around the world? You've also represented Africa. You said you represented Africa
In World Evangelical Fellowship, WEF.
Yeah, so they sent you around doing talks on behalf of Africa. That's a lot of experience. Who would you say has taught you some of the best lessons about leadership that you're applying now? People.
I would say people. My own dad, my own father, he never went to school, formal school, but he was very well educated in his own way. He used to say simple things like, and I'm the youngest, and so I watched some of my brothers and some of the mistakes they made. He always used to tell me, until his death, he died at 96, he used to tell me, wherever you go, leave that place better than you found it. And I've always reflected on that, even years after he's gone. That probably explains my proactive life. I don't wait to do tomorrow what I can do today. I'm always very proactive, because I don't know when the bell is going to ring.
I noticed, because even now we're about to, there's an event that's about to start. And I was saying you could record after the event, and you said, no, if we can't do it now, let's do it now.
Yes.
Don't put something forward to tomorrow that you can do today.
And there are two professors who really impacted my life. One was my an undergraduate professor by the name Samuel. Interestingly, he is still teaching. I think he's clocking 90.
And he's still teaching now?
He's still teaching. Yeah. In fact, he came to the launch of our hospital in June this year. But what touched me about him is not so much his academic prowess. He's an academic giant. He has written so many books, including Bible commentaries. And that takes a lot. You need to know the dead languages to write Bible commentaries. But I remember the first day I showed up in school, this is 79, I meet this guy. He was dressed in a very casual way. And I told him I was a student trying to figure out my way on campus. And he stopped what he was doing. He said, oh, I think I know where you want to go. He never introduced himself.
Okay.
He took me to several offices. He said, I think you might get some help here. Later, I found out he was a professor. And then his humility to date is just through the roof. And so I learned...
So you were touched by the humility as well?
Yes. And then I went to US. One of the places I went to US, one of the schools I went to is a university that also has a seminary section. And one of the professors was teaching cultural anthropology. And I don't know what happened. I got to know him. I think I was doing well in his classes. He hired me as a teaching assistant. At the time, I did not know that he was the smartest guy in the whole university. And so I would be walking around with him, and people would ask me, how did you get so close with Dr. Hibbert? I said, he just takes me around. We take coffee, we talk. And then I began to read some of his books and some of the theories that he's actually come up with in the field of cultural anthropology. And I'm like, I'm hanging out with a giant. I just didn't know, because he was so humble about it. And he trusted me with...
It was the humility with him as well.
Yeah. So this uncommon balance between a sound academic, an astute scholar, but also very humble. And those guys and an indelible impact in my life.
Have you not heard people tell you that you have the same effect on them?
I've had a few people mention that.
Because when they meet you in public and just talk to you, they don't feel like they're talking to this amazing entrepreneur and leader.
No, and I try, especially with the kids, well, same with the staff. If you notice, I can carry on a conversation with any staff.
Yes.
And even more so with the students, the kids. They love hanging out with me. And some of them come to me and say, I want your job. I'm only in high school, but just be warned at that time.
I'm going to put your job.
So please, come. No, I just don't think there is need for this class. We're just human beings. Some of us have been blessed with opportunities, and I think if I have anything, God gave it to me so that I can share with others.
Have you had mentors in business?
Yes, but not as consistently as I would have. What is I don't want to say it's funny. It's not funny.
Not structured. Oh, okay.
Yes, structured. And the minute I think I have found one and we begin talking, they say, "But I think you should be my mentor." So I try not to structure things too much. We talk and say, "Okay, let's be mutual.
Let's mentor each other."
Yeah, let's mentor each other. And really, that has happened a lot.
Is it?
Yes.
Because it's impressive how you built the organization and the board that you put together, and just how the accountability structures work. When I was listening to you talk about the board and how they function even when you're not there,
Yes.
and function well, that's the question I was having. Did you have someone who taught you how to do this, or it's pure intuition?
Interestingly, I only took a couple courses in management. Seriously, I did some work in development, but that was more on the development side of things, not so much leadership. What has happened is that everywhere, at all stages of my life I've been to, I was asked to become the leader within a matter of months, if not weeks. I go to this giant school in the US and trying to hide myself. In 2 weeks, they come looking for me. They say, "We need a teaching assistant, and we're here. You can be here."
You can be one.
And I say, "How did you do that?" So, and really, no humility. That has been my modus operandi. I just go to a place very quietly, just want to be at my corner, and something comes up and I'm able to provide a solution. I think the reason I have come up with several boards is because I'm very limited. I want all the skill sets that I can find to surround me. For example, in the US, I have a board of directors, and I've tried to get the best people in different fields, whether it's money, in the legal,
Okay.
in church. I have a combination of a very well-rounded board. I have also hired someone who is the director of my office, the director of programs there. She has worked for me for 16 years. And so I can travel all over the place because I trust her 100%. And she knows my vision, she knows what we are trying to do. I think she'll also retire or resign the same day I will. She has told me as much. Prior to hiring her, she told me she had never worked anywhere for 5 years. And we've worked together very well. So I try to get I like to get the best qualified people because I'm not afraid. I'm not insecure. I think if you are better than me, you make me look better than I am actually. Same thing with here. We have a very good board. So we have a board that runs the organization, Tumaini International Trust, but we also have boards of management or committees that run different areas. For example, in the school, we have a board of management. these are professionals in education who can work with the principal and the country director to make sure that the school is run well, and it's run very well.
It's one of the best in the country.
Yes. Oh, yeah. The performance is very good. In the hospital, I have same thing. I have a board of management that run the school. I have sanctions. I have very highly qualified people who are members of that board of management. These guys, they know the hoops through which you need to go to get registered with different professional bodies. And soon, because the business, the sustainability part of the business is growing, I'm going to have a board of management that works in the hospitality department.
Oh, because the hospitality.
You see, we are getting a lot of people here every day.
And conferences.
And conferences. So we run conferences. People come to do various things here. They come to eat in our restaurant now, and it's growing. And so we need some people to work with Sylvia who can guide us. What do you do as you go to the next level? You notice I have all these good professional people. I delegate responsibly. There are people who have credibility. All these people here, they're not here just because they have degrees in those relevant fields. We make sure that we have the best people we can find. And once you do that, the work grows because you are not there micromanaging everything.
Have you had a time in business, though, as this was growing, especially at the beginning, where you felt like giving up, where things got super difficult, and you doubted yourself?
There was a time when we were just beginning to grow. I quickly realized that in some critical positions, I did not have the right people. And a couple of them, I don't know whether they were overwhelmed by what was happening. They were taking some corners. And I did not want to close shop. I've never thought that. But I also hate to tell people, you know what, this is becoming a little too big for you. So that transition was not very easy because some of these people, I know them. But we've always said one thing, my wife and I, that Tumaini is not about Stanley and Rose. They have heard me say that so many times. So when we make business decisions to let people go because they are not fulfilling the vision and mission, it's not because we hate them. It's not even because of us. We are looking to build an organization that will last beyond us. And for us to do that, we have to make tough decisions sometimes. So around here, they think I have no issue letting people go. But I do. It hurts me to see them go, but sometimes I know they need to go.
And is that a conversation that you have yourself, or it's one you prefer to delegate?
No, actually, I like to have that conversation.
Is there a reason why?
When we have to
let someone go.
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, I have to meet if there's a committee that is in charge of that particular docket, like education or yeah. I work with the people there.
Oh.
Many times I'm out of the country, so sometimes decisions are delegated to my country director. But if I'm here, one time I had to fire a professor in the U.S. Performance issues, and so I talked with him, and I think I convinced him to resign rather than being fired. And we did that, and he came back. He asked me to write him a letter of recommendation, and we talked, and I told him what I must say in this letter if he really wants me to write him a letter. And he came back to me a few months later. He said, you know, he was a much older man than I am. He said, Stanley, I've been fired a few times, but I've never been fired by someone who ultimately became my best friend. Because you treated me like a human being. You not treat me as a number. So I liked all of them to end that way, but unfortunately they don't all end that way.
I'm curious though, because I would be asking you that what is the art of firing the right way? If you can fire someone to the point that they become your best friend, I know
Well-
you say treat it like a human being.
And we talked, the obvious. We talked why we want to go to this direction. But I think he said in other places, he was just send a letter, that, sorry, we no longer need your services. But at least in my case, I called him and we talked. I said, this is the direction we are going to go. But actually, I would like to give you an opportunity to resign so that I will have a reason to recommend you to go to another school, because you are a very good human being. And sometimes you can't just come to the wrong school, or maybe you're learning your lessons, go learn to prepare better. And he has done very well since then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
How do things work in Kenya in terms of firing or letting people go? Is there an organization, because in South Africa there is CCMA? An employee can take you there for unfair dismissal, and either you, depending on the case, of course, you might have to bring them back or pay them for letting them go.
Yeah, we have labor laws here too that guide you as to how you should let people go. And especially as we have grown from 1 staff to 64 staff full-time and 29 part-time, we have had to go the professional way. We have a HR, human resource manager, someone who is very well qualified, writes the policies, so that we have policies that guide us, so that there is paperwork, there is due diligence done before you let somebody go.
Okay.
So we've had to do that because...
So if you just let go of someone, they can report you to the organizations.
Yeah. We've never been sued, but you never know. We, again, being proactive, we hired a professional so that he can help us.
There's 2 things about why I was saying my brain is fried with how you work. The first one is marketing, because when I was asking you how you guys do marketing, you said your budget is 0.
Yeah.
You don't do any. And you
That was in the US.
Oh, that was in the US?
Yes.
Here, when we were talking about some of the marketing here as well, with conferences coming, a lot of it has been word of mouth.
Yes. So, so the earlier conversation about US was when we were getting started. But here now, over about 5 years ago, we began to do some marketing for our facility, for our guest house, the conference halls, and we thought we are going to have to maybe hire
A marketing person?
Yes, or professional comedian who come and do a video, TikTok, and come spend time here. And we were actually planning to do that. But then people just began to come. And we were like, we don't really need any to put any money into marketing.
What's the secret there, though?
I think the service. It's a word of mouth. They come, they feel like they're being treated well.
Go and talk about it.
Go and talk about it. Now we are still doing marketing for the school because of our location. We need to do some light marketing in big cities so that people may know. But again, that has also happened in a very interesting way because of our top-notch performance in drama and music and academia. A number of national TV stations have invited our girls to lead worship on Sunday mornings on national TV.
Wow.
And that's free
Marketing.
Yes.
Hey, that's some good PR for the school.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think when we were joking around it, I was saying I'm coming off a business workshop and we were talking about marketing models and strategies. And one person said to me, there's one that I'm using that you are not using on the board. It's called By the Grace of God.
Yes. We have seen that a lot. We've grown faster than we had planned. So every strategic plan period we've had, it has been overtaken by the grace. We think we're only going to build half a class, and then before we know it,
Now you did two, three more.
yes, yes,
The other one, the second thing is you have people that have left good, high-paying jobs to
Yes.
come and work
yes.
for the organization because they buy into the vision. How do you think that gets achieved? Besides the grace.
Yeah, I think because we don't advertise ourselves how we do business, I think whenever we advertise jobs now, because we go through, we want people to competitively apply.
Yeah.
They look at who we are. They go to our website. Maybe they call someone and then they apply. And if you're going to get a job, yeah, many times you go through several interviews. And by the third interview, if you are, shortlisted, some of them begin to say, I thought I was just coming to work, but I'm actually coming to serve. I am willing to forget what I had asked for in terms of salary. What can you pay me? At least it has happened with the two senior staff. And they both pointed to the Christian values that they saw. Interestingly, one was leaving a big Christian organization. They said the difference is light and day. And although there was money there are values here and should rather be here. And
what were you doing right in these interviews to communicate those values? Is this just because your team is just naturally nice people, or there's a structure that you put in place that communicates these values?
I think just they come on campus and they see how they are treated. That's the general part. And then at the
culture here.
Yeah, the interview itself, they meet these people, they begin to know what some of them do, and they are so committed to volunteering their time if they are board members to just come do this. And then they just interact with people, and maybe they ask other people who know about us, and before we know it, we have some really good people.
If someone says, I have a child, I think, and now I want people who will look for the organization. What are the kind of people you are looking to help? For the school especially, I guess the hospital will serve people that are around this radius.
Yeah.
I think the school goes far and wide.
Yes. The students that we currently have come from across the country. And I think mostly it's because they have seen us on national TV. And so we parents, actually we could have 500 kids already, except that our academic standards are quite high. So a lot of kids come to do interview and they don't make it. If a parent wants to bring a girl to a school where that girl will be well-rounded, and even now in our primary school, as we launch it in 2025, we are the place to come. We build our educational system around 3 C's: character, competence, and confidence. We believe that we need to build people who have character, Bible, Christian character.
Okay.
But also they need to be competent. So we hire good teachers so that kids will get quality education. We added confidence because culturally, girls were kind of treated like second-class citizens, and they were not treated equal with men. Now, one thing we try to differentiate is that we are not trying to develop cocky women, but women who have confidence in the fact that, they are women, but they are bona fide human beings. If they are pursuing law, they can just be as good lawyers as men. Not this American thing that what men can do, women can also do. No, the difference is the physical strength. But in terms of mental ability, And just the ability to say, I'm good. I don't lack anything. I happen to be a woman, and that's okay. But I can become an engineer, I can become a professor, I can become a pastor, I can become a rocket scientist. And really, you interact with those girls. Unfortunately, they are all gone back home, and the few that are left are seriously working on their chemistry and biology because of the national exams. Yeah, that starts next week. So they are very confident girls.
What would you like to say to your team?
My team here,
Yeah.
kudos. Thank you for doing what you do, doing an excellent job. I've often said, and I repeat it again, Tumaini is what it is because of you. Mine and my wife is just to provide facilitation. But you do everything. We just are here as cheerleaders to support you and to give you the tools that you need to excel in what you are very good at. Keep it up.
Do you have any message that you would like for the kids that you've supported?
Thank you for the opportunity that we got to mold your lives. I know so many of you been so successful. We brag about you. Your lives have completely changed, broken the cycle of poverty, but also become very responsible human beings. We're just glad to watch you excel in your respective fields of study, in your businesses. A lot of you, I know you are doing businesses, teachers, medical professionals. We're just so proud of you. Thank you.
I think as we keep it off, what should we look forward to when it comes to this big vision that is just getting started?
Yes. So we have completed a hospital here, a building, and we've equipped it to an extent, but we need to equip it in the next. We have actually broken it into phases. We have phase 1, 2, 3, 4, spread through the 5 strategic years.
Okay.
But it looks like we might actually do it before the end of the 5 years, which would be great. So we need to equip this hospital because right now we may be seeing this year, next year, an average of 120,000 people.
Okay.
But we've been told by those who do surveys in this area that we are looking at treating over 2 million people annually a few years down the road.
At a highly subsidized rate.
Yes, that's what we are looking forward to. At the school, we have also just acquired a land. Actually, the land was donated by one of the local Kenyan donors for us to build the primary school. In the next 4 years, we want to see that school up and running. We are also purchasing a huge piece of land at the foot of Mount Kilimanjaro, at least 50 acres, so that we can grow enough food. We need to feed the patients. We need to feed the people who stay in our guest house. People come to eat in our restaurant. We also provide lunch and meals for our staff who work here. So we want to provide them with organic food. We want to grow it in our own farm. And the surplus we want to sell so that we can plow that money into the work. Those are just a few things. Of course, we want to.
Impressive as this is already, the vision you're describing sounds overwhelming.
We also want to double the number of kids that we are sponsoring from 1,700 to 35,000. 3,500 in the main sponsorship program by the end of the 2028. We are really committed to that. And who knows what else we might do. We have bought a land 400 miles away where we'll do a satellite hospital to this because the needs there are even greater. Just a few.
Where is the hospital going to be?
It's in the coastal part of Kenya in a county called Kilifi County. we have the land already where we'll be doing that.
There is no stopping.
Nope. No.
You are truly an inspiration. I don't know if enough people tell you that, and the humility that you have is scary in a very good way.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, thank you. I just appreciate that you're free to share everything you've learned and just speak the Kenya story in a powerful and inspirational way. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, a tour of the city.
Yes.
I guess we'll learn a whole lot more.
Oh yeah. For sure. I was actually born in that city,
Oh, okay.
but my parents moved to the rural area when after my father retired. So my roots are from that big city of Nairobi.
I guess we'll find out tomorrow the good hotspots.
Yes.
Thank you for hanging us till this time. I know you will know someone who benefit from just learning from an absolutely gem of a mentor, and share the episode with them. We're going to do a tour of the city tomorrow, so I'll put some clips of the tour so that you get to learn about Kenya in case you want to visit. So show you a couple of cool spots to go. But otherwise, from our side, see you in the next episode.